Hey everyone, my name's James, and on this episode of Music Biz, we're going to discuss the cost versus the value of social media. Let's face it, we live in the digital age, which means we live in the age of social media. Everyone is connected all the time across a number of platforms, and keeping up with one, let alone many, is next to impossible. And to be honest, I think it's even worse for artists because you feel this need to be constantly engaging your fans, and when somebody reaches out to you or likes something that you do or sends you a question or a comment, you want to respond because you're a good person and you want them to continue supporting your art. It makes sense, but it can also take a toll. Recently, while talking to one of my clients, I realized that there's this value versus cost proposition with social media that we don't always talk about in the music industry. There's this unspoken agreement that we all just use it, that every artist has to have every channel available and they have to be producing original content for it all the time, or else they'll fall into obscurity or people won't care, or something that doesn't really make sense to me. Because after all, if you have fans, if you have people who are interested in you and you have a direct way to communicate with them, be it through an email list or something else, then you don't really need to be constantly engaging them on social media. In fact, it can ultimately cost you more than it's gaining you over time. Let's just take any month as an example. Let's say that you gain 1,000 Twitter followers this month in January 2020. That's pretty cool. I mean, 1,000 new followers are really great. But what is the value of those people versus the amount of time that you're going to have to spend acquiring those fans? Now, just because they follow you on Twitter doesn't mean that they're going to be streaming your music on one of the big streaming services, or that they're going to buy a ticket to one of your shows or buy a physical version of your music. It just means that they're following you online. So you have more people who are hearing the things you post as long as they're on when you post it, and as long as they don't mute you or otherwise just ignore the things that you put online. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those 1,000 fans. I mean, 1,000 more people following your music is 1,000 more people likely to see something that may catch their attention, that may pay off in the long run. But there's also a lot of maybes in there. So let's talk about the cost of getting those 1,000 fans. First, you have the amount of time that you're putting into developing your audience by creating original content. That's, hours of work over the course of a month, maybe even hours of work every single week. And while that has some benefit, you have to wonder how much it's taking out of your desire to do things like write music or book shows or just market your band through ways that are guaranteed to pay off, whether those be sponsored posts on social media, which have a lot of value, or through creating things like music videos, or again, writing and recording music. You see, what my client brought up to me, and which I found to be true as soon as it came out of their mouths, is that all too often we are losing focus on what is driving us to be in this career of music in the first place. We're in it to make music, to record music, to play music for people, and to engage with them in that means. Social media, while beneficial in helping forge and nurture relationships between fans, can ultimately distract us from the things that we really want to do, which again is making and performing music. And if you start realizing that it's pulling you away from the thing you really want to do, you have to ask if it's worth it. So the way that I choose to look at it is this. Are the fans that we're gaining through whatever social media channels we're on actually adding value to our career? Are they buying tickets for shows? Are they coming out to things? Are they telling other people to check out our music? Or are they people who just like the way that we present ourselves online? Are they enjoying, the funny tweets that you post? Or do they like your pictures because you are, aesthetically pleasing in some way, shape, or form? While there is some value to be had in that, there's much greater value in engaging people who are interested in the thing that got you here in the first place. That is your music and the songs you write and the shows that you play. So what I always suggest to people is that they need to have something like a mailing list, an email list where you have direct access to the people who want to know things happening with you. Having 100 people on a mailing list who are really, really interested in what you're doing can ultimately provide more value to your career than having 10,000 people who like your page on Facebook. Because if you have 10,000 people that like your page, maybe 100 or 200 will see the things that you post. But if you have 100 and 200 people out of 10,000 just seeing it, far less are even going to engage with it. But if you have 100 people on a mailing list and all 100 of them receive the email that you send out, the likelihood that a high percentage of those people will act on that information as long as it's geared towards their interest is very, very high. The return on investment is huge. So what I want to propose is this. When you're looking at your social media and you're looking at your following and how it's growing, the ebbs and flows of it all, ask yourself, is that translating into success in other areas of my career, notably more important aspects? Because I gained 1,000 followers on Twitter this month, did my average listeners on Spotify go up? Did my music video get a substantial amount of additional views? Did I sell more music? Did I sell more tickets? Or did I gain a bunch of followers who ultimately didn't act in any way that is going to support the bottom line of my career? And if the answer is the latter, then it's time to start pulling back. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need to be everywhere all the time, totally plugged in. If there is one social network that works really well for you, perhaps it's Instagram, because Instagram stories have really high view rates and a lot of people like to interact with the content there, then you should just stick to Instagram and don't feel that bad if you aren't tweeting every day or posting to Facebook. Another option you can consider is just to pull back a bit. What I found with my clients is that when they're silent for a long time and then they make an announcement, the engagement on that return post is huge. But if they keep making announcements after that initial comeback, there's just a drop-off. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. People get familiar with what's happening and they lose interest. So instead, consider announcing things that are important, sharing whatever needs to be shared, and then pull back. Maybe don't even post whatsoever until you have something else to share. Yes, people may be a little sad that they're not hearing from you every single day, but when they realize that the reason they're not hearing from you is because you're off making a new song or booking a new tour or doing something that's going to give them a huge original effort in the near future, they're going to forgive all those absences. So don't worry about the day-to-day as much as just giving people something that they can act upon, that they want, as soon as you're ready to present it to them. And if you're not ready to go that far just yet, which I understand, breaking up with social media is incredibly hard. I'm not good at it. Heck, I'm right here making a video for you right now, and we could argue maybe I don't need to be, but that's where I am. So if you're not ready just yet, then consider using a tool like Hootsuite or something else that allows you to schedule your social media posts. If there's something you just have to say, or you just feel like you need to post every single day, then plan those posts in advance. You can find schedules all over the internet that'll show you the most optimum times to post for maximum reach. Follow those guidelines, schedule your posts, and then walk away from it. Don't engage unless you absolutely have to, and instead, dedicate a little bit more time to your craft, be that reworking your logo or booking a new photo shoot for your band so you can present yourselves better, or just writing music, creating music, getting back to the thing that got you here in the first place, which is just making and performing music. Make that the focus of 2020, and you're going to see a far greater return than spending all your time trying to develop a social media following. And listen, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to try to pull back from all of my networks and focus on the ones that really produce a return, which is Music Biz right here on YouTube. So take a moment and click the subscribe button down below. You and I will be on this journey together throughout 2020, and we'll probably do well for a while. We might have some setbacks, but as my partner always likes to tell me, it's progress, not perfection, and that's what we're going for. So click the subscribe button down below and join me on this journey. And if you've already done that, that's great. I'm so thankful for all of you that watch Music Biz each and every week, especially because we have a lot of really cool stuff on the horizon. But if you're already a part of this community, or if you're still on the fence about joining us, then at the very least, take care of yourself, because you deserve it.